let's go in the weeds. Sorry, fun fact. In the weeds. I'm taking this thing off.
That ain't no damn chain. This is a chain.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get that big league deal yet. Still
Hey,
waiting for it.
baseball was Betty Goo.
Better good to me.
So I got two here left on in the weeds. Let's start with one of our favorite topics, the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred. This was interesting. I liked hearing the candid response that he gave to Time Magazine. I read some of what he talked about and then read, of course, all of Evan Drellick's article. And here's the tweet from Evan. Manfred told Time that if he could do it over again, he might not have offered the Astros immunity in the cheating scandal. So 4 years later, and he's showing some regrets for how he handled it with the players' side, right? Because you had Jeff Luhnow suspended, the GM, the manager, A.J. Hinch, the bench coach, Alex Cora, and you had a fine for $5 million, whatever. Every owner's rich. That means nothing. 4 lost draft picks. And the other thing that I will mention before I throw it to Kratzy, because you've obviously got some Houston in you, the MLBPA obviously would have challenged anything that they threw at the players and said, this is unprecedented. We don't have this. So for me, I think the lawyer in Manfred, because he's lawyer first, probably said, I'm not winning this case if I just start suspending dudes, and I don't know how to actually go about this. So I'm going to leave them, let them tell me anything that they can, and then suspend the adults in the room, as in management.
I think I love his candidness. I love the fact that he's being accountable. 3 years after the ruling came out? 4 years after the ruling came out? Probably too late, but I can't just always be the cynic when it comes to Manfred. But you look at the suspensions and stuff, and talking to some of the people that got suspended that I was close to, they almost felt like they had to say, yes, I did things wrong. That was the way that it had to be handled. But the players, they look like they're just skating down the pond, nothing ever happened. It was totally fine. A few people booed me, but it's fine. We got earplugs. We don't need to worry about that. I think it's at the beginning, when everything was coming out, it was a cop-out because Evan Drellick kind of hits on it in his article, and Evan, couldn't be closer to this topic than anybody else, all that he's written about it. And he said, he was like, well, if that's the case, then you need to give immunity in any kind of investigation. He was like, we didn't know if we'd really get all the information. That's the investigation part of it. And I think the investigation part, when I got put, not to the screws, but I had accused the Rockies of using a Theragun on a metal bench, and it came out in a podcast. A day later, somebody from the MLB investigation committee called me, and she was like, well, do you have any information that you want to discuss with me? And I was like, well, you already heard everything that I said, and everything that I said was true. And she was like, okay, well, do you have somebody that you can corroborate the story with? And I was like, no, they're still playing. I'm not going to sit here. And she's like, oh, it's totally fine. Don't worry about that. I understand. But would there still be anybody else that you would like to say also knew this? And I was like, yes, but they're still in the game, and I'm not going to give anybody up like that. And she was like, okay, no problem. And that was the end of the investigation. But MLB, it was like, you didn't really investigate anything. MLB was told, and I think Evan brings it out in his book, from other teams during 2017, hey, something's going on here. Where were they on that? Where were they? Yes, they might get somebody, saying, hey, I think somebody's doing something shady. Your job is to look it up. Your job is to make sure that the game's integrity is intact. If multiple teams made complaints against a single team, investigate it. And they didn't. And then they had found these scapegoats, and they shouldn't have given the immunity to the players.
And this, to me, proves, I think sometimes they're also too overwhelmed. There needs to be game, business. Do you know what I'm saying, Kratzy? One dude is overseeing everything. We've talked about this before. Game, as in rules, issues on the field, calls that teams are cheating. Business, I got to figure out our new TV deal. I'm battling with the players about contracts. Like, that's a lot, right? Like, so I know there's people within the offices that work in both spots, but I'm saying, like, head honchos, separate sides, you know? And hey, Jonesy, I mean, you played during that time period, obviously. I'm sure you were pissed. And what were your thoughts at the time when you heard about that? Because so 19, you were, where were you? Were you D-backs?
No, yeah, 19 was in D-backs. I mean, I just think that everybody has the advantage of technology and all that. I just think that people get just mad that, I guess they went further with it. Um, I don't know. It's always like, you want to make sure that you said the lawyer. Manfred's a lawyer, first and foremost. He's going to make sure that he makes the right verbiage, says the right verbiage. It wasn't the right verbiage to say, uh, that the championship was just aluminum something. It wasn't much. It's just I don't know. It's just a sticky subject because it's good that he admitted it that he could have did this again. The Players Association would have fought him to the death of it. Um, I don't know. It's I just think that who cares anymore? I don't even know why they're still interviewing. Like, there's so much more to talk about again, and it's going to be something like that again in sports. It's just how it works. There's always going to be some new advantage now with the sticky stuff. It's just we're still talking about something that's old. Time, obviously, Time is one of the magazines that focuses on historical events, and it is. But in the game, there's so much more going on. Who cares anymore? Honestly, like as a baseball fan, only time I ever care is when the Astros are playing the Yankees. That's the only time I think I ever care.
Well, the game needs to be fair though. That's the thing, right? For fans to buy into it, right? Integrity is important. And of course for the players. I mean, at the time, players were freaking out, and some of them said that they should have punished Astros players. So, like, were you one of those when you heard about it at the time?
Yeah.
Were you like, damn, I wish those guys got in some trouble because they took this thing too far? Or like, there's so many variations of this bullshit going on right now with the Apple Watch and what the Yanks were doing, and Kratzy's on the Rockies with their Theragun. They're getting massages and getting pitches thrown. Like, what were your thoughts back then when you heard about it?
Well, with the Rockies, I'm not concerned about that because they wouldn't win the damn thing. It didn't matter. Give all the pitches to them. Yeah, but I mean, like as a player, I was upset. Like, and you can to suspend a player like that again is unprecedented, but it would have set precedent because the incident set precedent. As a player, as a current player at the time, I was frustrated with them. Um, I knew that everybody had the technology and can do that. Again, they were doing it at pitch. I mean, I gave signs at second base all the damn time because I knew how to decipher the 3 or 5 different counts and the sequences that were given. If there was a Latin and an American, that was pretty easy. Go on the sign me after 2. I learned those things. Kratz, I'm right. I learned those things. But to do it the way they did it, I think players could have been punished. But again, it's such a major precedent. I just think that it personally has tarnished a lot of those individuals that were bigger names in it. Springer, Altuve, Correa, who are the biggest names of that team right at that point. Verlander was a pitcher at the time, just got over there, so I don't think he gets any. But there's some guys that I just think it's going to always be about them and around and over their head. Correa, anytime he goes to New York, it's always going to be something. But I mean, if it didn't happen then, I don't care anymore. I mean, they got a whole new team. They were booing players at 18 that had nothing to do with it. So, I'm sorry, at 19. So it's just like it's over and done with. But it's just I think there's better storylines in today's era.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
people are definitely still salty about it.